Hello my dear students, this is one more important topic, that is fungi or fungi. So the features of fungi as per the textbook, NCERT class 11 textbook, in the page number 22 and 23, we have kingdom fungi. The important features are going to be discussed here. So fungi are eukaryotic, multicellular, achlrorophyllous, heterotrophic organisms with chitinous cell walls. So here different words are mentioned: eukaryotic, multicellular, achlrorophyllous, heterotrophic, chitinous cell walls. These things are going to be explained in the coming slides. First one, eukaryotes. Eukaryotes means organisms with a true nucleus. Here true nucleus means nucleus surrounded by a nuclear membrane. A member of a membranous organelles like mitochondria, vacuoles and other ribosomes will be present. So this kind of organism is fungus also a kind of eukaryotic organism. They are multicellular, means with many cells. Fungi have many cells in their hyphae. So some are unicellular. For example, yeast are unicellular fungi. Single cell is present in yeast cells. So achlorophylous means without chlorophyll. Fungi do not have chloroplast and chlorophyll pigments. So chloroplast is absent among fungi. That's why they are heterotrophic organisms. So heterotrophs are of different kinds. Here heterotroph fungi are of three different kinds. They may be saprophytes, parasites and symbionts. Let us see what is meant by saprophytes, parasites and symbionts. So saprophyte means organisms which depend on dead and decaying organic matter. So in the last video we discussed about saprophytes. So where sap means a putrid material, dead and decaying organic matter, this fungus grow. That's why they are saprophytes. Some are parasites. For example, white rust of crucifers. You can see on the leaf white pustules, white rust-like structures can be seen. So this is nothing but parasite, means it is the fungus is living on the some other living tissues at the expense of the host, so they live as parasites also. So next thing is some are symbionts, that means they get mutual benefit. They live together with other organisms. You can see here fungal hyphae are living together with algal cells in the case of lichens. So lichens are a best example for symbionts. So lichens look like this on the tree trunks. So they are living in association with algal cells. Here mycorrhiza, here mycus means fungus, rhiza means roots. Some fungi are in association with the roots of higher plants where they supply water to the roots. Roots supply nutrient elements to the fungus. So they are mycorrhizae. Here in this case of lichens, fungal hyphae supplies mineral nutrients to the algae and algal cell supply. They are anyhow, they are autotrophic photosynthetic organisms. They prepare food material and supply food to the fungus. Like this, they live as a symbionts also. Next thing is they have chitinous cell walls. Here cell wall consists of a substance called chitin. This chitin in the higher organisms, in higher plants, cellulose is present in cell wall, whereas in the case of bacteria, muramic acid is present. But in the case of fungus, chitinous cell wall. Chitin is present. Next thing is they are cosmopolitan. That means they occur in all kinds of habitats like water, soil, air, within plants and within animals. So like this. So the biosphere, wherever biosphere is there, biosphere is all over atmosphere, hydrosphere and lithosphere. So here in the air, hydrosphere means in water, lithosphere means in soil. Fungi, different kinds of fungi are present in different habitat. That's why we describe them as cosmopolitan. So next thing is their preference. They prefer moist and warm conditions. So if moist and warm conditions are there, they grow very fast, especially on the floor of the forest. They grow very fast. Next feature is a hypha. Hypha means fungal filaments are called hyphae. Singular is hypha. So hypha means hair-like filaments of fungus. So under the microscope we can see like this. Under electron microscope the hypha will be like an eukaryotic cell. So this is hypha. Next thing is a mycelium. Mycelium is nothing but a mass of hyphae. A mass of hyphae is called mycelium. A group of hyphae is called mycelium. This is the actual body of the fungus. Next thing is a cenocyte. Here a cenocyte means mycelium may be accepted with a many nuclei. You can see in this hypha, septa are not present, cross wall circle are not present. In the same hypha, many nuclei are present. This is multinucleate condition we call as a cenocyte condition. We can see this in rhizopus also. So monokaryotic. Here mono means single, karyon means nucleus. Mycelium may be septate and monokaryot. Like this, mycelium has cross walls and that is divided into different cells. Each cell has a nucleus, unlike that of a cenocytic multinucleate condition. So next thing is a dikaryotic. Mycelium may be septate and dikaryotic. Di means two, karyon means nucleus. If two nuclei are present in the cell, we call it as a dikaryon. Here you can see each cell has two kinds of nuclei. One black, another that white. These dots indicate two different nuclei in the same cell. This is called a dikaryotic condition, dikaryotic phase. This is seen in one kind of fungus called Puccinia. So next thing is glycogen. Glycogen is otherwise called as animal starch. This is a reserve food materials or glycogen and oil like animal cells. Plant cells have starch. Plant reserve food material is starch, whereas the reserve food material of animals and fungus is glycogen. Glycogen is also called as animal starch like this. So this one is glycogen and this one is a starch present in a plant cells. Next thing is a vegetative reproduction. Vegetative reproduction takes place by fragmentation, that is breaking of the hyphae, budding, bud formation and fission, that is division like this. So this is a fragmentation. When hypha gets broken down, that will develop into a full mycelium. So this process is called fragmentation. Here you can see budding in the case of yeast cells. From the cell a small bud develops. That bud develops and finally detached from the mother cell to become a daughter yeast. So next thing is the fission. Here one cell divides into two cells like this. This is called fission. So vegetative reproduction in fungus is three kind, that is fragmentation, budding and fission. So next, asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction takes place by zoospores or aplanospores like sporangiospores and conidia. So here you can see zoospores. We call zoo means animal. They have flagellum. They move in water. They swim in water. That's why we call them zoospores. So here can sporangiospores. Spores formed within the sporangium is called sporangiospores. They are applanospores. They don't move by themselves. They are moved with the help of air currents or water currents. So here conidium is the structure like this. If spores are formed externally on the conidia and the conidiophores, this is called conidiophores. We call them as conidia. So two kinds of applanospores are there. One sporangiospores, another one is conidia. So three kinds of asexual spores: zoospores, sporangiospores, and conidia we can see in fungi. So next thing is sexual reproduction. Here sexual reproduction by gammatic fission, gametangial contact, and somatogamy. Gammatic fusion is of three kinds, that is isogamy, anisogamy, and physiological isogamy. Let us see what are these different kinds. Isogamy, here similar gametes, the fusion between two similar gametes. Gametes are similar in their appearance. We call this as isogamy. So next anisogamy, here gametes are of two different sizes. If the unit gametes are of appearance is different, sizes are different. If fusion occurs between two dissimilar gametes, we call it as aniso. Ana means different. Gamy means union or fusion. Anisogamy. Next thing is physiological anisogamy. Here two gametes are similar in size and appearance externally, but internally they belong to two different strains, plus and minus strains. So if gametes unite in this manner, we call that process as physiological anisogamy. That is similar in appearance but dissimilar in strains. So next feature is gametangial contact. So in some fungi, two gametangia. Gametangia means, so any structure that forms gametes or sexual cells is called gametangium. So here a male and female gametangia, antheridium and archegonium, they come together and exchange of cytoplasm takes place, nuclear material takes place between these two gametangia. We call this sexual reproduction as gametangial contact. Next thing is somatogamy. Here soma means vegetative cells or vegetative parts of the body. Gamy means fusion. If fusion takes place between two hyphae directly, we call it as somatogamy. In most of them, the monokaryotic haploid gametes cells fuse and form a dikaryotic cell by the union of only cytoplasm. The dikaryotic cell divides and forms a dikaryotic mycelium. Here you can see here two different hyphal cells are there. They are fusing. After the fusion, the same hypha consists of two nuclei. One nucleus is of the existing hypha, another nucleus is from the another hyphal cell. So existence of two nucleus in the same cell is called dikaryotic condition. Then this dikaryotic condition will continue for some time. So that is the meaning of this sentence. So this kind of fusion between two different hyphal cells is called somatogamy. So next term is Myospore formation. In some cells, the two nuclei of the cell fuse and form diploid cells. These diploid cells undergo meiosis and form myospores, which germinate and form an haploid mycelium. So here, see, two different cells or hyphal cells come together and their cells fuse. So this is called myospore formation or fusion. So this kind of sexual reproduction also takes place in the case of some fungi. So next one is this sexual reproduction happens due to the production of three different kinds of spores. They are called oospores, ascospores, and Basidio spores. So in the further video, in the next video, we are going to see what are the different kinds of fungi and what are the different kinds of spores in them. So here basically we are learning asexual reproduction results in oospores, ascospores and Basidio spores. So what are these things we are going to study? Oospores are thick-walled sexual spores formed by the fusion of Antheridium and Archegonium. So in the case of Rhizopus, see the bigger structure. The bigger structure is called Archegonium. The smaller one is Antheridium. Smaller one is male and the bigger one is the female. They come together during gametangial contact. Here gamete, the female gamete or archegonium is going to be converted into sexual spore. So the process of sexual reproduction is oogamy. Here the egg is going to be fertilized with the female nucleus, sorry, male nucleus. So the ultimate, the resulting sexual spore is called oospore here. So in the next thing, ascospores. In some ascomycetes like fungi, ascus is the structure in which ascospores are formed. So that's why that fungi is called ascomycetes, that we are going to study in the next video. If in the oospore formation, if the oogonium has a oospore, oogonium spores are called oospores. If ascus has spores, that is called ascospores. If basidium, for example, in Basidio mycetes, especially in mushrooms, you can find this kind of basidia which are bearing spores called Basidio spores. So what we have understood here is oogonium has oospores, ascus has ascospores, basidium has a basidiospores. On this basis, fungi are classified as oomycetes or next ascomycetes or basidiomycetes. So next thing is fruiting bodies where sexual structures are present. Sexual fruiting bodies like ascocarps and basidiocarps may occur. This is the ascocarp in the case of ascomycetes, which has a sexual gametangia and sexual structures. In the case of basidiomycetes or mushrooms, we can find the basidiocarps. This edible part of the mushroom is called a basidiocarp. Carpus means fruit. So the fruit-like structure of mushrooms is called basidiocarp, and of that of ascomycetes is called ascocarp. Next, fungi are classified into four different classes. They are Phycomycetes, Ascomycetes, Basidiomycetes, and Deuteromycetes. These things we separately discuss in four different videos. So let us see some important fungi. Rhizopus, important species of fungus we can see here. Bread mold, that is called Rhizopus. In the same way, alternaria, it causes a fruit rot of oranges, and even here we have shown some other grape-like fruits. So this is blueberries. So this rotting is due to fungus called alternaria. So alternaria, fruit rot of oranges is due to alternaria. Puccinia, here wheat rust, the rust-like spots on the leaves of wheat leaves is called wheat rust. And this is caused by a fungus called Puccinia. So next thing is albugo. This is one more genus of fungus. White rust of mustard is due to albugo. This is white rust on cruciferous plants, especially Brassicaceae members. So this is mustard leaf where you can find this kind of a fungus. Albugo, we call it as albugo, causes white rust of mustard. Saccharomyces, that is yeast. The scientific name of the genus of yeast is called Saccharomyces. Yeast are used in bread and alcohol making. So bread making and alcohol making, we use a yeast. So you can see the border like structure. This border like structure is nothing but yeast used in bakery industry and alcohol industry. So next thing, penicillium is used in making antibiotic production. So these are the penicillin tablets, and this is a penicillin vial. So this is made from a penicillium fungus. This is the lab grown fungus. This is a fungus under microscope. antibiotics are made from a penicillium. So next thing is edible fungi. We know that edible means which can be eaten, which are not harmful for human beings. We call them as edible fungi. You can see different kinds of edible mushrooms. So next thing is poisonous mushrooms. Toadstools are poisonous mushrooms. So okay, this is the important features and examples of fungi. Next video we can see different kinds of fungal classes, and also the importance of fungi. So very thankful for watching this video. Let us go to other videos in the successive production. Okay.